Back to Auburn. I'm Dave Warwick along with Joe Unstead and our cameraman Brent Boblitz, and we're bringing you all of this action right here on Interview Cable Channel 18. Due up for Blair in the bottom of the second will be the cleanup hitter Joe Pleskach, Jim Cross, and Joel Jacobson. Cross has been hot for this tournament, Joe. He is 5 for 6, 3 for 3 yesterday with a solo home run.
Yeah, Joe's really been hot, and it's unfortunate in the last couple games we haven't been able to get anybody on ahead of him, as our top 3 hitters in the order are just not coming through right now.
Strike one to Joe Pleskach. James Garrett on the mound for Alliance in his first appearance of the tournament. Steve Vlail behind the plate. Misses. 1-1 now to Pleskach.
As you said, his first appearance, which would lead you to believe that Alliance has pretty deep pitching. They had 10 runs scored on him yesterday and yet didn't bring this kid in, so.
Fouls it back.
Joe's a little upset. I think he figured he had that ball timed and expected to send it a long way.
1 ball, 2 strikes now to Joe Pleskach. Inside. 2-2 now. Jim Cross, the on-deck batter. 4, 5, and 6 coming to the plate here in the bottom of the second. Joe reaches for one.
He did a nice job. Did a nice job, Dave. He was fooled by the curve and off stride, but when you're a hot hitter, you always get a piece of it and at least foul it off and give yourself another chance.
Count remains 2-2. First batter of the bottom of the second. Low. 3-2. Full count now to Pleskach. Garrett has not walked a batter yet. Ground ball hit down at Jeff Snyder. He's up with it. Long throw to first base in the dirt. Gets away from him. So Joe Pleskach is on. The error charge to third baseman Jeff Snyder.
Jeff Snyder made such a nice play in the first inning to rob, I believe it was Livermore. And this time he took, I think, a little too much time, Dave, and then he had to hurry the throw a little bit.
Brings up Jim Cross. Jim, 1 for 5 for the tournament.
Taking a long look down at Coach Phil Sievers, giving him a set of signs. You've got a possibility of a steal or a sacrifice here, maybe a hit and run.
Garrett with the first pitch with a man on. Ball 1.
Joe a little bit unsure of himself against this left-hander. He was kind of leaning back toward first when the pitch was made, so it doesn't appear that Joe's going to be able to get a real good break here if he wants to steal.
2-0 now to Cross. With a runner on, Garrett falling behind the batter. Pleskach reached first on an air. Nobody out. Bottom of the second, Alliance leads 1-0. Cross reaches, pops it up to Pat Brown at second base. Brown camped underneath, makes the catch for out number 1. 1 away now in the bottom of the second. Brings up the catcher, Joel Jacobson. Jacobson, 2 for 7 for the tournament. 2 for 4 the first night, 0 for 3 yesterday.
Blair's starting out doing what they did a lot yesterday, and that's popping the ball up.
Joel lifts this one out toward right center field. Right fielder Dan Ritchie underneath it to make the catch for the out. So we've got 2 away now in the bottom of the second. Joe Pleskach stranded at first base. That'll bring up the pitcher, Kyan Kingston. Kingston 1 for 6 for the tournament. 0 for 2 yesterday. James Garrett, the pitcher, faces Kyan Kingston, the pitcher. First pitch, called strike right at the knees. Pleskach running on the pitch. The throw down. Pleskach has it easily.
And that may be something you'll see Blair do if they can get some men on base, because Joe was able to steal that base standing up with no problem.
0-2 the count now to Kyan Kingston. Kyan needs to get a piece of this baseball here. Kingston, number 7 in the order, fouls it off.
And he did get a piece of the slow curve.
Kingston will be followed by the right fielder, Larry Martin. Bottom of the second, Alliance leading 1-0. Curveball way high. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Kingston.
Kyan would like to get a base hit here and tie this ball game up. When you're the home team, you always feel pretty confident if you can just keep a tie ball game.
Kyan grounds out in front of the plate. James Garrett picks it up, but the umpire rules a foul ball.
I think it hit off of his foot.
1-2 count to Kingston. Pleskach coming to third. The throw down to third, and he's got it. The ball got away a little bit from Steve Lale, but he threw a strike down there, but Pleskach had it beat out. So Joe Pleskach now at third base. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Kyan Kingston, 2 away. Bottom of the second inning, Alliance leads 1-0. Kyan strikes out, goes down swinging, and Blair's threat is erased off the base paths. For Blair in the bottom of the second, no runs, no hits, 1 Alliance error, 1 man left on base. After 2 complete innings of play, the score, Alliance 1, Blair 0.
This Blair Bear Sports replay being made possible in part by the Fort Calhoun Stone Company. Also presenting this broadcast, the Blair Eye Care Center. When it comes to care for your eyes, the all-new Blair Eye Care Center is the finest around. Dr. Gary Finn, optometrist, can give your eyes the highest quality professional service you expect. When only the finest care for your eyes will do, call the Blair Eye Care Center, located in 1 Blair Place, 17th and Washington Street in Blair. Also presenting this sports replay, the Great Plains Communication and 1,000 Adventures. Also Loyal's Food Mart. If you like good foods, convenient shopping, low prices, and just plain good service, then you'll enjoy doing your grocery shopping at Loyal's Food Mart in Blair.
Top of the third inning, coming to the plate for Alliance will be hitters number 2, 3, and 4. Jeff Schneider, the third baseman, center fielder Tim Baer, and left fielder Justin Coupens. Jeff Schneider walked his first time up. Ended up being thrown out in a rundown between home and third. Alliance leads 1-0 as we enter the top of the third. Kingston on the mound for Blair. First pitch high, ball 1. Ballpark 310 down the lines. 330 to left center and right center. 380 to dead center.
It's just about the right size, I think, Dave, for a midget team, because it's fairly big, but yet you've got a chance to hit some balls out of here.
1 ball, 1 strike pitch. Lifts it to the right side. Livermore dives for it, can't get to it. Jeff Schneider comes up with a base hit. Larry Martin chases it down, gets it back in. That brings up Tim Baer, the center fielder. He singled to right field his first time up.
Ball wasn't hit hard, but it was just hit in the right place, and Derek Livermore gave it everything he had. He ran over, made a dive for it, and it looked like it might have just ticked off the end of his glove. He couldn't quite get it.
Dave Rathjen, none too deep in center field.
Dave plays a shallow center field, and that's a real advantage, Dave, unless they happen to hit a ball over your head. Then it can become a disadvantage in a hurry. But playing in shallow, you'll take away base hits. You'll make it hard for runners to score from second on a base hit.
Tim Baer, the batter. Throw to first base. Sends Schneider diving back in. Top of the third inning, nobody out. Jeff Schneider at first, Tim Baer, the batter, Justin Coupens on deck.
Kyan has a very deceptive move because he brings that leg up and just kind of holds it, and the runner on first can't tell which way he's going.
Throw down, Jacobson with the throw. Throws a strike, but Livermore doesn't catch it. Derek went for the tag before he caught the ball, and so Tim Baer, or Jeff Schneider rather, has a stolen base. And that makes the count 1 ball, 1 strike to Tim Baer.
It's too bad because it looked like they had him, and the throw was a little bit on the wrong side of the bag, or it would have been an easy play. Derek had to reach for it and come back with it.
Big curveball misses. 2 balls, 1 strike.
But as we said, Kine with that deceptive move, the runner didn't get a very good break, and it appeared when Joel threw the ball down, they would have a shot at him, but the throw just a little bit offline.
Nobody out. 1-0. Alliance leads. 3 balls, 1 strike. Tim Bear, the number 3 hitter. Justin Coupens, the cleanup batter, on deck.
And I just can't believe, Dave, that Phil Severs is going to be very patient. If Kyan walks this batter, you may see relief help right away. You just can't wait too long in a game like this.
Ball 4. Tim Bear draws the walks. We've got runners at first and second now. Nobody out.
I don't really know what the status of Joe Pleskach and how many innings he can throw in this game, but I can't believe we're going to fall very far behind in this game before we bring somebody in if Kyan just can't throw strikes, because he's got to be a control pitcher.
Well, Joe has plenty of innings left, but what kind of arm he has at this point after having thrown all last night would be a question here. Coach Severs coming out of the dugout now to talk with Kingston. This may be it for Kyan. Kyan behind the batter here now. 1 ball, no strikes. And while they talk this over, we'll bring you this message from S.E. Smith & Sons.
S.E. Smith & Sons, for building, remodeling, and adding on. Painting,
Midget baseball tournament. Blair trailing Alliance by a score of 1-0. We're in the top of the 3rd inning. 2 runners on, nobody out, and Coach Severs has decided to make a pitching change here. Joe Pleskach will come in. Jim Cross moves to third. Jim Cross moves to shortstop, rather. Nate Williams moves to third. Ken Kingston goes to left field. So Joe will face this batter with a 1-0 count. And Joe just pitched last night, so whether he still has all of his stuff or not will remain to be seen.
Well, Joe's pretty young and strong.
We'll be back with more after this word from Huntel.
Huntel Systems, serving people for over 75 years, helping to make life easier by providing.
Scotch faces Justin Coupens, a 1-0 count already established. Justin, the cleanup hitter, grounded out to third base his first time up. High, ball 1. Ball 2, rather. Dan Ritchie, the right fielder, is on deck. 2 runners on, nobody out. Top of the 3rd, Alliance leads 1-0. Ball 3 now, 3-0 to Justin Coupens.
It's tough to come in this situation.
Strike 1. 3 balls, 1 strike.
You hate to see Joe have to take something off a pitch to get a strike when they've got their cleanup hitter up with a couple men on base, but he's got to throw a strike here.
3-1 pitch. Long fly ball. Rathjen going back. I don't think he's going to get to it. No, he doesn't. The ball off the fence. Rathjen gets a good hop. Quickly gets it in. And so 1 run scores as Justin Coupens rips a double.
As we said, when you get behind in the count like that, you don't want to walk the batter. You've simply got to take a little off your fastball and make sure you throw a strike. And when they've got their cleanup hitter up, that's what can happen. We said Dave Rathjen plays a shallow center field, and he just couldn't quite get to that ball. He got close.
Jeff Schneider scores. Tim Bear now at third. Justin Coupens at second. Dan Ritchie, the right fielder, the batter. He was safe on the fielder's choice his first time up.
Joe just simply needs to go for a strikeout here. He's got to try to overpower this hitter because a ground ball, the infield may come home, but it looks like a run would score on a ground ball or a fly right now.
1 run in, nobody out. Top of the 3rd, Alliance leading 2-0 in the ball game. High. 1 ball, no strikes to Ritchie. Jason Hardy, the first baseman, is the on-deck batter. Nobody out. 1 run in, 2 runners on. Joe Pleskach pitching in relief of Kyan Kingston. Curveball finds its mark. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fouls it back out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Dan Ritchie. Jeff Snyder led off this inning with a single to the right side. Tim Bear walked, and then on Justin Coupens' double, Snyder scored to give Alliance a 2-0 lead. Nobody out. Strike 3, Joe gets the strikeout. You called it, Joe.
Well, he had to shoot for a strikeout in that situation, and he'd like to get another one right here because you want to leave that guy on third. Of course, Alliance is trying to, they may think about squeezing here if they're not confident that this batter can hit a ground ball or fly ball, so you have to think about that a little bit.
Jason Hardy, the batter, he struck out his first time up. Number 6 hitter of the order. Low, ball 1.
Joe pitching out of a stretch so as not to give the runner on third too big of a break should he decide to come home.
Ball 2, low again. Joe came in relief of Jim Cross last night, finished the ball game. Now coming in early today. 2 balls, 1 strike now. Runners at second and third. 1 run in, 1 out. Top of the 3rd inning, 2-0 the score in Alliance's favor. Strike 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes now to Hardy. Pat Brown, the second baseman, on deck.
After 2 hard fastballs, you wouldn't be surprised to see Joe throw the slow curve here, and you hope that Joel can block if it gets into the dirt.
Does throw the curve and gets him looking. Jason Hardy goes down a second time. 2 away now on the bottom of the 3rd.
Jason Hardy threw his bat down, and the umpire followed him out of the batter's box and said, hey, we'll have no more of that if you want to keep playing in this game.
Brings up second baseman Pat Brown. Brown flat out to left field his first time up. Scott Stover made the catch. Kyan Kingston out there now. 2 away. Runners at second and third.
Joe's got himself in a good position to get out of this. He has the number 7 hitter, 6 hitter.
Number 7 up at the plate.
And if he does walk him, he's still got that open base. It doesn't hurt anything.
Ball low. Pat Brown ahead of Pleskach, 2-0 here. Coach Sievers pacing nervously.
Well, like I said, with the open base, Joe does not have to give in to him and throw him something.
Looping fly ball. Kingston comes, catches it on the hop. There'll be a play at the plate. Kingston with the throw. Williams relays it home. The ball gets by. And Brown advances to second. So Pat Brown comes up with a 2-run single. Making Alliance's lead 4-0 in the top of the 3rd inning.
Big hit, a big clutch hit. Like I said, I really didn't think Joe would give in to him and give him something he could hit with that open base, but he did. And then I was a little surprised, Dave, that our outfield was playing as deep as they were for a hitter that was that little. And this guy looks like about a 4'5" tall guy.
James Garrett, the pitcher, now steps up. Swings and foul tips it. Jacobson hangs on. We've got 3 runs in, 2 away. Alliance leading 4-0, top of the 3rd inning. Swings and misses. Oh, 0-2 to the batter. Number 8 in the order, pitcher James Garrett. He walked his first time up. Swings and misses.
Foul tips it, so the runner will have to go back. Joel Jacobson was unable to hang on to it, or it would have been a strikeout.
Count remains at 0-2.
The runner from second was coming on that play, Dave. Again, that's a strange play. You figure you're in scoring position with 2 outs. Why would you take a chance on being thrown out?
Ground ball, hit at Derek Livermore. Livermore up with it, tosses to Matt Sather at first for the 3rd out of the inning. 4-3 in our scorebook. But Alliance does more damage to Blair championship hopes as they come up with 3 runs. On 3 hits, no Blair errors, 1 man left on. After 2.5 innings of play, the score Alliance 4, Blair 0.
This interview sports replay being brought to you in part by the Conoco Company of Blair. Also presenting this interview replay, the R&R Welding Company located at 727 Iowa Street in Blair, and the Blair Glass Company for residential, commercial, and auto, specializing in windshield installation or repair.
We'll be back after this message from Bar Pharmacy. Due up for Blair in the bottom of the 3rd will be hitters number 8, 9, and 1, Larry Martin, Nate Williams, and Derek Livermore. Blair, Joe, has been held hitless thus far in the ball game. Well, Alliance has come up with 4 runs on 4 hits.
And Blair just needs to hit the ball. As you said, they've had only 1 base runner, Joe Pleskotch, who reached on an error. This pitcher does not look like he's got overpowering speed or anything. And in fact, Blair's hit the ball consistently, but they've just been hitting it up into the air, popping it up.
Martin a lot of time likes to come with a bunt, try to beat it out down the 3rd base line. Alliance coach is moving Jeff Schneider in on the grass.
He's not really in shallow enough.
Bunts at foul.
Again, I'm surprised. If I was coaching, I'd have him in about 50 feet, at about 50 feet, because from where he's at, if it's any kind of a bunt away from the pitcher, he's not going to be able to throw him out.
Jeff Schneider stays right at the edge of the grass. Larry Martin now with 1 strike on him.
And he's going to bunt again.
Throws it out in front of the plate. Schneider up with it, makes the throw, but Martin has it beaten out.
As I said, he needed to be in shallow. You can know that bunt's coming, but if you don't play in shallow enough to pick it up and throw the guy out, I mean, Larry beat that throw by a good step. It wasn't particularly close. The 3rd baseman did all he could.
Brings up 3rd baseman Nate Williams. Nate went in at 3rd when Kyan Kingston left the pitcher's mound and moved to left field. Scott Stover left the ball game. Williams 1 for 2 last night. His first appearance in the ball game last night. He had a nice sacrifice bunt and then had a single to the right side.
And the sacrifice was a squeeze bunt with 2 strikes, a real pressure bunt. Well, I think this is a big inning for Blair right here. After you drop behind 4-0, you need to feel like you're in this game, and you need to do something offensively.
1 ball, 1 strike to Williams. Martin at first base, nobody out. Blair trailing 4-0. There goes Martin down. The throw by Steve Lale is high, and Martin underneath the tag. So Martin now at 2nd base. Nate Williams with the count of 2 balls, 1 strike.
And Blair, Phil Seavers taking some chances, down 4 runs running. The last 2 times our catcher threw Dave, it looked like he didn't have a very good arm, but on that one he uncorked a heck of a throw, and it was just lucky it was a little high.
Williams with a line drive to the left side. Martin will come around. Coach Seavers is waving him home and then stops him. Now he's going to have him in a rundown. The play at the plate. Martin makes it. Williams coming around. Hesitates, now comes hard to throw, and Williams is all the way to 3rd.
Well, I was really surprised. Blair got very lucky on that play.
Coach Seavers was waving Larry Martin, and then Larry held up halfway in between.
Well, Coach Phil stopped him, but he stopped him too late. He was well around the base when he stopped him and couldn't get back to the base. So he really should have stopped him right away. It appeared with no outs, Dave, that he'd stop him right away because the ball was fairly close in there.
Nobody out now, and we're back to the top of the order. 1 run in, 4-1 the score. Derek Livermore at the plate. He grounded out to 3rd his first time up. Takes the pitch high, ball 1.
And that was a tremendously big play for Blair because of 2 mistakes by Alliance. They ended up with a run and a man on 3rd.
Ground ball up the middle, another base hit. 3 base hits in a row. Derek Livermore breaks out of a slump. He is 2 for 6 for the tournament, 0 for 4 yesterday. Derek comes through with a big hit.
Well, Dave, Alliance did something I really don't understand there. They had with a 3-run lead and the man on third, they had their infield played way in, and well, that gave that shortstop no chance on that ball. I don't think he would have had it anyway, but you'd think they would have conceded that run with a 3-run lead and played their infield back for the out.
Coach Garza out to have a word with his pitcher and infield as Blair.
Ayler Brothers Family Restaurant in Blair is
Well, we apologize for missing that. While we were at break, Matt Sather laid down a perfect sacrifice bunt. Derek Livermore took second and kept right on wheeling all the way to third. So Sather on the sacrifice bunt is the first out of the inning. 2 runs in, runner at third base, and that brings up center fielder Dave Rathjen.
And one of the things you asked, Dave, of your number 2 hitter in the order is that he be able to bunt, and Matt Sather did an excellent job on that bunt, and Derek Livermore, using his speed, came all the way to third, and once again, Alliance with their infield played way in to try to cut off that run at the plate.
Pitch out, they thought maybe Derek would be coming home on some kind of a squeeze.
Phil only uses those 2 strikes. Right now, you just need a fly ball to the outfield. A hard hit ball to the infield is going to have a lot better chance of going through because of that infield being in, and I'm real surprised they're doing that this early in the game, Dave.
Dave shows bunt, but pulls back. 2-0 now, the count. Livermore at third, 2 runs in, 1 out. Top of the third, 4-2 the score. Rathjen at the plate. Dave goes after one, grounds it right at Tony Munt. The throw to third, they don't get him, and Rathjen is on first base. The ball was hit at Tony Munt. Derek held, indecisive. They came with the throw to third to try and pick Derek off. He dove back in safe. That allowed Rathjen to reach first. So Dave Rathjen on with the fielder's choice, and now just 1 out, 2 runners on. The tying run at first base.
And now Alliance making some defensive mistakes. Obviously, he had Derek held at third. He should have just gone ahead and thrown the first and got the out, but he outsmarted himself.
Joe Pleskotch, the hot bat for Blair, at the plate.
Joe fakes a bunt, but I can't, in my wildest imagination, think that Joe's going to be bunting here, Dave.
I don't think he'll bunt until David's at second, and then he won't bunt.
No, I don't think so either, because he's a guy that can take the ball right out of the park.
There goes Rathjen. They're not going to throw. They're going to let him go. So now runners at second and third. 1 away. Cleanup hitter Joe Pleskotch at the plate. Joe, as we said, was 5 for 6 coming into today. Safe on an error his first time up. 3-0 now to Pleskotch. James Garrett in danger of loading the bases here in the bottom of the third. 3-0 pitch to Pleskotch.
They're just walking him intentionally, Dave. They don't want to face him when they don't have to, so that's going to put it on Jim Cross's head.
That's the first walk given up by Garrett. So now we've got bases loaded, 1 away. Brings up third baseman Jim Cross. Cross flat out to second base his first time up. Infield all pulled in.
And Dave, that's the first thing Alliance has done in a while that I've agreed with. There's no sense in pitching to Joe Pleskotch.
The ball gets through. And we've got a score, and all the runners move up. Derek Livermore goes in to score. That makes it 4-3. Rathjen moves to third. Pleskotch moves to second. So the tying run now at third base. Jim Cross, Joe, with just 1 hit in this ball game, in this tournament, and that being a home run in the first ball game of the tournament.
Well, and it looks to me like Alliance is going to change pitchers here.
Well, last time we left, we missed the play, so we're going to wait and
Well, I
see for
saw
sure
him.
what's
I
gonna
saw their
happen.
coach call the pitcher in from the sideline and ask him if he was ready, so they're changing.
All right, we'll bring you this message then while we have a pitching change.
This Interview Cable Sports Replay is being brought to you in part by the Hardy Construction Company. For new homes, complete remodeling, both residential and commercial, serving Washington County. Also, this Blair Sports Replay is made possible in part by the Fort Calhoun Stone Company and being brought to you by Dr. Byford Klein, optometrist in Blair, by the Blair Memorial Community Hospital, a good neighbor when you need one, and by Ryder Accounting and Professional Bookkeeping, a full-service accounting firm. Let Professional Bookkeeping find a hidden treasure for you by filing an amended tax return on your 1987, 88, or 89 income taxes. Your hidden treasure may be waiting for you at 229 South 17th Street in Blair.
Chad Coulter comes in off the bench to relieve James Garrett. Blair has scored 3 runs in this inning off 3 hits and 1 error by Alliance.
And really, quite frankly, Alliance got a little bit rattled there, Dave. They made some misplays. The shortstop in particular, when he had the ground ball and had the runner held at third, instead of throwing the ball to first and taking the sure out, he tried to pick the runner off third and didn't get him. And, of course, that was a real big play. That meant they had to face Joe Pleskotch with 2 men on base. After Dave Ratchin stole second, then they intentionally walked Joe Pleskotch, which I thought was a very good move. But unfortunately for Alliance, then their pitcher threw a wild pitch, scored the runs, and scored a run and moved the runners up. So now it's going to be up to Jim Cross. And as you said, Jim in kind of a mini slump, although he does have 1 home run out of the park in this tournament.
We talked on the way down about the fact that Blair had never trailed in this tournament, nor in district play, and we wondered how they'd respond if that was the case, and I guess they've answered that question. We're trailing 4-0 and have come back with 3 runs here in the bottom of the 3rd. Jim Cross, the batter, the number 5 hitter. He'll be followed by Joel Jacobson.
Well, we have to remember, too, this is just midget ball. These kids they're just...
Pulls back on a strike. So 1-1 now to Cross.
Cross kind of faked the squeeze play as he started down the line, and or David Ratchin started down the line. Jim faked the bunt, but I think probably with this count they may just go ahead and let him hit away.
3 runs in, 1 out. 1-1 the count. High, ball 2.
And Jim would just like to get a pitch he can drive here. Like I said before, when you have home team, you just kind of like to even keep the game tied up, so you always feel like you can win it at the end, and a fly ball here would tie the game up.
Cross the batter, 2-1 pitch. Here he comes, pops it up, foul. He catches the ball. Ratchin coming back, it's a double play. Alliance gets out of it. The pitch was way high. Jim knew he had to get his bat on it and pops it up, and Ratchin was in no man's land. He came racing back, but third baseman Jeff Snyder made a great diving catch on the foul ball as he had to recover. He was chasing the ball, and they had Dave Ratchin in plenty of time, so a big play for Alliance gets them out of a tough inning, but Blair still comes up with 3 runs on 3 hits. 1 Alliance error after 3 complete. The score, Alliance 4, Blair 3.
Vinton Motors for a
American Legion Midget Baseball Tournament coming to you from Auburn. Championship game, Blair versus Alliance. As we enter the top of the 4th, Alliance holds a 4-3 lead. Bunt right back at Joe Pleskotch. A throw to first base to Matt Sather. Retires the number 9 hitter, Steve Lale.
He had a good idea, but he bunted the ball, unfortunately, right back at the pitcher, which is the one place where you're not going to get a hit. If you can get it down the third baseline, you've got a good chance.
Gets us back to the top of the order with Tony Munt, the shortstop. He is 0 for 1 with a walk, scored 1 run in the first inning. Joe Pleskotch pitching in relief of Kyan Kingston. Kyan pitched 2 complete and to 2 batters in the 3rd before Joe came in. Fouls it back out of play. 1-1 now to Munt. Jeff Schneider, the on-deck batter.
Joe struggling a little bit with his curveball.
2 balls, 1 strike now to Tony Munt. Strike 2. 2-2. Pleskach has 2 strikeouts on the afternoon. Cross had 2 of his own before being relieved, or Kingston rather. Ground ball hit at Nate Williams on the hop. Long throw to first. Sather takes it in. Tony Munt goes down 5-3.
You know, I like to watch Nate because he really takes his time, makes a nice step and throw each time. He's an accurate, and I hope I don't jinx him, but he doesn't make a lot of bad throws.
Brings up Jeff Schneider, the third baseman, who made the fine diving catch on Jim Cross's squeeze attempt. Schneider is 1 for 2 with a walk. Single to right center field is in the 3rd inning and end up scoring a run. 4-3 the score, top of the 4th inning. 2 away, nobody on. Ball 1 to the batter. Strike 1, 1-1 now the count to Jeff Schneider. Tim Bear, the center fielder, is on deck. Swings and misses, goes after the short curveball.
Well, when Joe's ahead on the count, and that's the key to a curveball, if you're ahead on the count and that batter has to worry about getting called out on strikes or something, then he's a little early on that and can't decide. And he went around, it was way up in the dirt.
1 ball, 2 strike count. He goes after it again, and that's strike 3. It's the 3rd out of the inning for Alliance in the top of the 4th. 3 up, 3 down. No runs, no hits, no one left on. No Blair errors. After 3.5 innings of play, the score, Alliance 4, Blair 0.
When it comes to care for your eyes, the all-new Blair Eye Care Center is the finest around. Dr. Gary Finn, optometrist, can give your eyes the highest quality professional service you expect. When only the finest care for your eyes will do, call the Blair Eye Care Center, located in 1 Blair Place, 17th and Washington Street in Blair. Also presenting this broadcast tonight, this replay, the Conoco Company of Blair and R&R Welding, located at 727 Iowa Street in Blair. This sports replay being brought to you in part by the Blair Glass Company for residential, commercial, and auto, specializing in windshield installation or repair. And also presenting this broadcast, Great Plains Communication, 1000 Adventures, and Loyal's Food Mart. If you like good foods, convenient shopping, low prices, and just good service, and you'll enjoy doing your grocery shopping at Loyal's Food Mart in Blair. And we hope that if you're watching this broadcast, this replay, you'll think about patronizing these sponsors because they're the ones that make these broadcasts possible.
This tournament ball game being played at 1 o'clock on a Monday afternoon. It was slated to be played on Sunday, but the whole tournament was rained out on Friday, so everything moved back to Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And once the rain stopped, we've had gorgeous weather. But with the Monday afternoon ball game, it has cut into the size of the crowd considerably. Blair with a good following, though, down here this afternoon.
Of course, Alliance having to come clear from the other end of the state, you assume the only people they brought along were people who stayed down here for the weekend.
All right, for Blair, Joel Jacobson to lead things off. First pitch to Jacobson, ball 1. We've got Chad Coulter pitching in relief of James Garrett. Jacobson 2 for 7 for the tournament. 1-1 now to Jacobson. Jacobson first time up, flat out to right field.
And Blair would dearly love to take the lead here, Dave. It appears that Joe Pleskach has really settled in, and they'd like to have the lead and put the pressure on.
2 balls. Chad Coulter falling behind. County Fair starting in Auburn, so we're surrounded by every kind of animal you could think of here. Ground ball, right side, base hit, past Pat Brown. Dan Ritchie in right field, up with the baseball. Gets it back in, but Joel Jacobson leads things off with a base hit.
And Blair, after the first couple innings not being able to do much, is beginning to hit the ball.
Brings up Kyan Kingston. Kingston struck out his first time up. The lone strikeout recorded by James Garrett.
I think Kyan got a little anxious in that time. He had a man on third, wanted to bring him in, and kind of swung at a ball over his head. But We'll have to see now, because this is a situation where Phil may want to play to try to tie this game up right now. If so, he may have Kyan bunting.
Martin, the on-deck batter. Kingston squares around. Yes, he does. He bunts it right back at third baseman Jeff Schneider. He turns, has to go to first base. They cover third. So Kingston does what he's supposed to do. Jeff Schneider gets Kingston on the sacrifice to Jason Hardy. Jeff Schneider to Jason Hardy, 5-3 in the scorebook. And that brings up right fielder Larry Martin, who started things off in the bottom of the third with his infield bunt single.
And now if Larry squares around and the third baseman charges, you have a situation where you may be able to send Joel Jacobson to third base.
Foul ball. Larry's attempted bunt is foul.
I thought they might try that on the first pitch, Dave, because that third baseman is going to stay way in there, which means there's really nobody covering third base unless the shortstop can get over there in time. That's going to leave Larry a lot of room to hit through out there if he swings away.
Jeff Schneider way in. Joel Jacobson at second, one away. Larry Martin at the plate, one strike. Pulls back. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Martin. 4-3 the score. They're in a position to tie the ball game up if they can get Jacobson across. On deck batter is Nate Williams, who singled his first time up. Martin, the ball gets by. Jacobson will come to third. Larry had to jump over that pitch. So now we've got the tying run at third base. Will Coach Sievers go with the suicide squeeze again, Joe?
Well, I don't know. You know, Larry's a good bunter.
Here I call on you for this expertise.
I wasn't real fond of the last one, but it's a situation. I know what Phil was thinking. Get the game tied up because you're the home team and you've got the last bat, but it just didn't work out the last time we tried it.
Martin pulls back, doesn't swing. 3-1 the count now to Larry Martin. Nate Williams on deck.
You'd like to see Larry get on any way he can, because with his speed, he'd be almost certain to steal second, which would set Blair up with 2 men in scoring position again, a chance to take the lead, but Larry's got to get on first.
Tying run at third. 1 out. Martin the batter. Fouls it out of play. So now it's a 3-2 count. And things become a little more tense.
You really need Larry to get the bat on the ball. The infield's in very tight, so if he can hit a ground ball, they don't have much of an angle. And if he can hit a fly ball to the outfield, you can tag that runner up. But it's important that he puts the ball in play here.
Chad Coulter, the pitcher. 3-2 count. Martin at the plate. Lets it go. Ball 4. Larry with a good eye. Walks, and that brings up the number 9 hitter, Nate Williams. But Williams singled to the left side. His first time up today.
I'd really like to see Nate take a pitch here and let Larry have a chance to steal second, because Nate is he hits the ball hard and he doesn't have great speed, which makes him kind of a candidate for a double play once in a while.
Jacobson at third, Martin at first, Williams the batter, 1 out. There goes Martin. The ball gets by. Jacobson going in. The throw is not made. Martin comes all the way to third. So the ball game tied now. The go-ahead run at third base, 1 away.
And Alliance, the last 2 innings, Dave, just hasn't looked like the same team they looked like the first couple innings. They're making a lot of mistakes, and Blair's making them pay for it. Now again, we're in a situation where if Nate could just hit a fly ball to the outfield, we'd take the lead in this game.
Do you record the wild pitch as an error?
No, a wild pitch or a pass ball is not an error.
But a mistake nonetheless has allowed Blair to tie the ball game. Williams, ground ball up the middle. Brown fields it, long throw to first. They don't get him.
You've got to give Nate a base hit on that. It deflected off the pitcher's glove. He's really mad at himself that he couldn't make the play. But
infield base hit for Nate Williams. Again, Joe, the infield was pulled way in. Had they been back, I think that would have been a routine play.
They would have given up the run. As we said, they would have given up the run, but they would have at least gotten the out. And this is why I don't like that strategy of the infield way in all the time.
2 runs in.
And this pitcher's just really kind of getting wild. He's throwing a bunch of wild pitches. And
2 runs in, 1 out. 5-4 the score. Blair has taken the lead here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Derek Livermore now at the plate. Chad Coulter on the mound trying to put out this Blair rally.
And Alliance has another pitcher warming up, so they're not going to go too much longer with Coulter, I don't think, Dave, unless he can start throwing strikes. And from here, that pitch looked like a strike, but the umpire called it high. It was right at Derek's belt.
2-0 the count. Coulter delivers. 3-0 now.
Well, right from the beginning, we said this umpire had a fairly tight strike zone, and if a pitcher begins to get a little shook, then that's going to really have an effect, because he's really got to come down the middle to get a strike.
3-0 pitch. Low, ball 4. Livermore draws a walk, and that's going to bring the coach out of the dugout again.
Well, he has no choice. You know, once a pitcher gets rattled, it's, you know, regardless of how good a pitcher he is, and he starts walking people, you just can't leave him in there.
While they talk here on the mound, we'll pause for this commercial message.
S.E. Smith & Sons for building, remodeling, and adding.
Coming to you from Auburn. Alliance versus Blair. Alliance now, after leading 4-0, has fallen behind to Blair by a score of 5-4. And we have a pitching change, Joe.
We have number 13 going into pitch. He's taken about 3 warm-ups out of his 8.
13 is Jeff Schneider. He will move from first base to the pitcher's mound. And who went to third base?
Number 14, the guy that was just pitching, I think that was Coulter.
Okay. While he warms up, we'll bring you this message from Huntel.
Huntel Systems, serving people for over 75 years. Help.
A pitching change has been made here by Alliance. They are now using their third pitcher of the ball game. Jeff Schneider has moved from third to the pitcher's mound. They're trying to put out the Blair fire here. Blair leading 5-4 after being behind 4-0. Runners at second and third, 1 away. Matt Sather, the batter.
And it's tough. It's tough for a pitcher to come in these situations. You're always a little bit nervous, and I know what the coach is thinking. He's hoping right away that this pitcher can throw a strike or two, but his first pitch right into the dirt. Phil Seavers out there in that coach's box, a little bit hyper right now.
He's got little equipment problems behind the plate. Steve Lale looks maybe to have popped a string on his glove or something. They're looking at that. Coach Seavers walks down and has a word with Matt Sather. Matt, for the tournament, Joe, is 1 for 7 coming into this afternoon's ball game. And he is 0 for 1 tonight, so we might say that Matt is past due.
It's a situation with no outs, Dave. I think we'd have him bunting. With 1 out, I think he'll probably be hitting away.
If that bat was a library book, he'd owe a huge fine.
Yeah, I think if Joe Pleskotch was the next hitter, you might have him bunting anyway, but David Rathjen's the next hitter, and he's been in a little bit of a slump here, so I think you want Matt to hit away here and hope something good happens, and Matt and Dave are due anyway. They're gonna come through here in a second, I would think. They need to just get the ball in play, because right now it appears to me that the Alliance team is simply a little bit shook, and if you make them play the ball, they may have some trouble.
Well, now they're changing catchers also. Steve Lale coming out of the ball game, and they are putting in Eric Burback.
Well, Burback didn't take long in getting the equipment on. He must have already had on a pair of shin guards, because he's out there already taking some tosses.
And while the catcher takes a few throws, we'll bring you this message.
This interview cable replay being brought to you in part by Dr. Byford Klein, optometrist in Blair, by Blair Memorial Community Hospital, a good neighbor when you need one, and by Ryder Accounting and Professional Bookkeeping Service, a full-service accounting firm. Let professional bookkeeping find a hidden treasure for you by filing an amended tax return on your 87, 88, or 89 income taxes. Find your hidden treasure at 229 South 17th in Blair.
All right, we've got 2 runs in, 1 out. Matt Sather, the batter. 2-0 the count to Matt. Livermore at first, Williams at second. 2-0 pitch. Low, ball 3.
And right now, Alliance just having a real problem finding someone to come in who can throw some strikes because they're getting into big trouble with the walks.
Coach Garza using his third pitcher. 3 balls, 1 strike now to Matt Sather. Sather 0 for 1 tonight with a sacrifice. Flat out to second base his first time up, sacrificed in the third. Ball 4, Matt draws a walk.
And now, unfortunately for Alliance, they're really getting into the power part of Blair's lineup, as you've got David Ratchin, who, with his size and strength, is very capable of hitting a grand slam right now.
Third.
And if he doesn't, Joe Plescott certainly can, who's on deck.
Third walk of the inning. First by Schneider. Bases loaded. 1 out. 2 runs in. Dave Rathjen, the center fielder, at the plate. Dave 0 for 2 on the night. 1 for 7 for the tournament coming into this ball game. So 1 for 9. His library fine would be worse than Matt's if he'd checked that bat out the library.
Well, they do other things, though. David's played a super center field, and right here he could really contribute.
Fouls it back out of play. Dave was a victim of curveballs yesterday.
Now, he may see one right now as he's behind on the count 0-2. I think probably coming up to bat, Coach Stevers told him maybe to look at a pitch till he got a strike since the pitcher hadn't been able to throw any, but then he threw that first one right down the middle, and now David fouled off to go behind 0-2.
0-2 pitch, Jeff Schneider. Here come the runners. He misses on the bunt. They've got him in a rundown, and they gets by 1. Now they're chasing down, and they get him in the tag. Double play. And so Blair ends a bases loaded opportunity with a double play, and Alliance gets out of a big, big jam. We'll be back with more after these messages.
This interview cable sports replay is being brought to you in part by the Hardy Construction Company. For new homes, complete remodeling, both residential and commercial, serving Washington County.
Bar Farm.
Alliance 1 in the first, 3 in the third. And both teams are using relief pitchers, pulling out all the stops in this single elimination tournament. Joe Plescott is pitching in relief of Kyan Kingston for Blair. James Garrett was used to open the game for Alliance. Then they came back with Chad Coulter and then went to Jeff Schneider. So they are on their third pitcher, Blair on their second.
And Blair has the lead now, Dave. It's just a matter of Joe Plescott getting 9 outs. And I'm sure that's what they're thinking right now. 9 outs, and we've still got last bat if they do tie it up.
Number 3 batter, Tim Bear at the plate. Ground ball right at Williams. Ball goes off Nate's glove all the way at the fence. He chases it down, but Tim Bear leads off the inning by getting on. And Joe, that's the first error of this tournament committed by Blair.
And that was a hard-hit ball, although Nate certainly, we've seen Nate play many balls like that this year. It's too bad it just hasn't been Blair's game up to now. They've had some good things happen, but they've certainly had some bad things happen.
Batter now, Justin Coupens, the left fielder. He's doubled to left center field his second time up tonight. Grounded out his first time. And 1 ball, 1 strike to Coupens. Tim Bear really hit a shot at Nate Williams. So 1 runner on here. Top of the 5th. Nobody out. Curveball gets him swinging. If Joe keeps that curveball working, he's going to be tough for Alliance batters to hit.
Well, that's the cleanup hitter who drilled one off the left field fence earlier, and he didn't want to give him a fastball, anything he could drive, so he just stayed with the curveball. And you're right, when he throws it in that spot, they're going to have a lot of trouble with it.
We got 1 out now, 1 runner on. Brings up right fielder Dan Ritchie. The runner going, Jacobson loses the handle on the ball. So Tim Bear rolls into second, or slides into second, I should say, and that is 1 strike to Dan Ritchie.
And I think it would have been very hard for Joel Jacobson to throw him out on that pitch. It was a slow curve, you always hope the guy will try to steal when you throw a hard fastball, and so you'll get that extra second or so.
Pleskach on the mound. OK's the signal. Curveball. Ritchie swings and misses. 0-2 the count to Ritchie.
Joe's thrown 5 curveballs this inning, all 5 for strikes.
1 away. Runner at second base. Top of the 5th inning. Curveball hit right back at Jim Cross. It goes through his legs. Tim Bear going to the plate. He scores. So Dan Ritchie on via the air. Blair at the second error of the ball game. Second error of the inning. Gives up the tying run. Ball game all tied up now. 5 apiece. We're in the top of the 5th. 1 away.
This is the kind of game, Dave, that if you lose it, you're just going to be dreaming about it for years. We're going to think about those 2 double plays on squeeze bunts and finally taking the lead and then quickly giving up 2 errors and giving them the run right back again.
First baseman Jason Hardy swings. Ball gets away from Jacobson, kind of in the dirt. And Dan Ritchie rolls down to second base. So now the go-ahead run at second base. Jason Hardy, the batter.
Well, Joe's really gone to throwing nothing but curveballs, and that's a little surprising with his velocity, because a curveball has a tendency a lot of times to get in the dirt, which is giving the runners an extra base.
Ground ball hit up the middle. That's a base hit, and the go-ahead run will score. Jason Hardy with the single up the middle gives Alliance back a 6-5 lead here in the top of the 5th. The first hit, based on 2 Blair errors, has allowed Alliance to pull back out in front.
And I think he just has overused the curveball, Dave. They're just beginning to time it. Those last 2 ground balls were both hit off curveballs, although one should have been played. That one was a clean hit.
Pat Brown, the number 7 hitter, second baseman at the plate now. He singled in the 3rd, flied out in the 2nd. Flat out to left, singled to left. So I'd call him a pull hitter.
And that, I think, Dave, is the first fastball Joe's thrown this inning.
Strike 1. Rathjen pulling his outfielders in a little bit, or Pleskach rather, pulling the outfielders in a little bit. Fouls it off. 0-2 the count now to Pat Brown.
Well, Pat Brown, because they were playing him too deep one inning, dropped a little kind of a looping single in front of the outfield, which plated 2 runs. I believe that was him. It was one of their real short batters.
Yep.
But they're playing him a lot shallower now, and now you just hope he doesn't get a hold of one and drive it over their head.
Brown, not very big. Has 2 strikes on him. Pleskach probably with the curveball. No, fastball. Pops it up. Pleskach can't get to it. Now 2 of them collide. And the throw to third base, Williams, the tag not in time. So Sather and Pleskach collide, can't make the play at first. And Brown on via the air.
And it's kind of one of those plays where I think once Joe couldn't catch it, he almost should have just let it go because it looked like it would have gone foul. However, I think he figured if he picks it up, he's got an out, which he would have because the runner had to jump over him. But now Blair's having the kind of defensive luck that Alliance had the last couple innings, and that's none at all.
2 runs in, 1 out, 2 runners on. The batter now, Chad Coulter, the third baseman. First pitch called strike 1. Coulter, a left-hander.
Well, they're really not hitting Joe hard. I mean, they hit a couple hard ground balls, but they were right at people. We should have played them, and then that hit was, or that was just a little blooper. They barely hit.
Coulter grounded out to second his first time up. Pat Brown motors down to second base. Unchallenged. So now runners at second and third, 1 out. Alliance leading here in the top of the 5th by a score of 6-5.
And Joe would really like a strikeout here because, again, we've got that man on third. You've got to pull your infield in. So a hard hit ground ball is going to be, or a fly ball to the outfield is going to score him.
Curveball misses. Joe steps off, fakes the throw to third. Two-two pitch, ground ball, hit it Livermore. Livermore bobbles it, gets it to safety, throws it away. That'll score 2. Another error. Lets Alliance play 2 more runs.
Blair just falling apart here, Dave. I don't know what more Joe Pleskotch can do. He's gotten them to hit easy, actually fairly easy plays on all of them, but the one Nate missed, and Blair's just booted them all. Derek Livermore dropping to his knee to field that ball, which I always think is a mistake in an infielder, because then if you get any kind of bad hop, you can't play it, and he did. Plus you have to throw from down on your knee, and you just can't make a good throw. So
4 runs in. Only 1 hit in this inning, but 1, 2, 3, 4 Blair errors. Alliance now with an 8-5 lead over Blair here in the top of the 5th. Brings up the 9th place hitter, the catcher, Eric Burbach. His first appearance.
You really feel like Blair could come back in this game if they could ever get out of this inning. Joe was just sailing along coming into this inning, and he's just had absolutely no help behind him. Which is kind of rare, because that's what's won Blair their 29-30 games this year, is the excellent defense they've always played.
As we said, coming into this ball game, they hadn't committed an error, and here they've committed 4 in 1 inning. 1 strike, 2 balls to the batter, Eric Burbach, the catcher.
Hell, they were further behind in this game earlier and came back and took the lead. They'll just have to hope their sticks keep talking for them.
Jacobson blocks the ball. Runner holds at second. Chad Coulter at second base. Eric Burbach, the batter. 4 runs in, 1 out. 3-1 the count. And then it's back to the top of the order. Strike 2. Full count now to Burbach. Credit Alliance, they just wouldn't give up on this ball game. They've taken advantage of every mistake Blair's made. Pleskotch, 3-2 count. Pitch on the way, fouls it back out of play.
Joe bringing the heat on that, and the batter a little late, but he still did get a piece of it hanging in.
Not much wind here today.
Seems like when an inning like this gets started, Dave, you just cannot get out of it.
Swings and misses. Joe gets him on the strikeout. 5th strikeout for Pleskotch in the game. 2nd out of the inning. That gets us back to the top of the order. Tony Munt, the shortstop. He is 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Walked in the 1st, flied out to right field in the 2nd, grounded out to 3rd in the 4th. The 8th batter to come to the plate for Alliance here in the top of the 5th inning. 4 runs in, 2 outs, runner at second base. Throw back to second. He won't go for the fake play, the trick play that Blair used successfully last night. Chad Coulter stays put. Strike 1 to the batter, Tony Munt.
Well, that's the only disadvantage of having to use that play to win the semifinal game. You didn't have it for the final game because obviously they'd scouted it and knew it was coming eventually.
Jacobson goes out now to have a word with Pleskotch.
They're probably talking about the signals. You know, if you've got a man on second base who can look in there, you don't want him picking up the signals and telling the batter what's coming on the pitch.
0-1 the count. 4 runs in. 8-5 the score. Alliance leading here in the top of the 5th. Strike 2. Joe way ahead now, 0-2 on the batter. 2 away.
You'll probably see the slow curve ball here. No.
Strike 3. Joe gets him on the strikeout. His 6th strikeout of the ball game, the 3rd out of the inning. But a big 5th inning for Alliance. They come up with 4 runs off 1 hit and 4 Blair errors. After 4.5 innings of play, now Alliance owns an 8-5 lead over Blair. We'll be back with the bottom of the 5th after this message.
Ayler Brothers Family Restaurant in Blair is fast becoming a tradition.
Cameraman Brent Boblitz bringing you this baseball game here on Interview Cable Channel 18. Blair found themselves down 4-0 entering the bottom of the 3rd. They came back with 3 runs and then went ahead in the bottom of the 4th, took a 5-4 lead to Kingston. Well, Blair has had success against Schneider, and when he came in the 4th, he walked 2 batters and gave up 2 singles before getting out of the inning on a double play. 2-0 to Kingston.
I think you'll see Blair be pretty patient here, particularly the 7, 8, 9 hitters. If he doesn't throw a strike, they're not going to be swinging because Blair definitely needs base runners to get back in this game.
Strike 1 to Kingston. Jeff Schneider now. 2 balls, 1 strike to Kyan Kingston. Right fielder Larry Martin on deck. 2-1 pitch. Kyan, ground ball right back at Schneider. He's up with it, throws to first base to Jason Hardy for out number 1. So 1 away here in the bottom of the 6th. That brings up right fielder Larry Martin. Martin 1 for 1 with a walk. A bunt single in the 3rd, a walk in the 4th. Scored both times, so Larry Martin seems to be a little bit of good luck for Blair. Umpire coming over to have a word with the Alliance coach.
Not sure what this is all about, but he's apparently giving him.
Maybe I don't know how much baseball Jeff Schneider has pitched for Alliance in this tournament. Maybe they're saying that he only has a few innings left. I don't know. Regardless, Larry Martin is the batter. The count 0-0. 1 away. Bottom of the 6th inning, Alliance leads 8-5. High, ball 1.
Larry down on the end of the bat, which usually, having watched him, that usually indicates he's hitting away.
Strike 1.
And as we said, Blair hitters going to take a look and make sure they get a strike before they swing at anything because they need to get on base.
1-1 to Martin. Nate Williams on deck. Ground ball, slapped right at Jason Hardy, down on 1 knee. Pulls it in, steps on the bag for out number 2. So 2 away brings up Nate Williams. Nate 2 for 2 in this ball game. Single to the left side in the 3rd. Infield single in the 4th. Nate has scored once. He's the number 9 hitter in the lineup. So Blair would like to get something going with 2 away. First pitch, call strike 1 to Williams.
Well, Alliance just appearing to grow in confidence here toward the end, and that's why you need to get some runners on, because when we've had people on base, they've kind of gotten real shaky, but last couple innings, they've looked they've looked real under control, and it's Blair that's looked a little shaky.
1 ball, 1 strike to Nate Williams. Then it's back to the top of the order to Derek Livermore. Ground ball hit sharply, gets by Chad Coulter. So Williams, 3 for 3 on the day.
Nate, in a rare display of emotion, clapping his hands and exhorting that dugout. Come on, guys, get fired up, we're dead.
Brings up top the order Derek Livermore. Derek 1 for 2 with a walk. Singled up the middle in the 3rd, walked in the 4th, grounded out in the 1st. Jeff Schneider seeking to limit Blair to 1 base runner. First pitch, ball 1. Nate Williams at first, a 2-out single, trying to spark this Blair rally. Livermore swings and misses. Low ball. 2 balls, 1 strike to Livermore. Matt Sather, the first baseman, is the on-deck hitter. Championship ball game on the line here. Single elimination. Ground ball hit down at Chad Coulter. He's up with it, steps and throws to first, is in time. And Alliance out of the inning, 5-3 in our scorebook. So, bottom of the 6th for Blair. No runs, 1 hit, no Alliance errors. After 6 complete, the score Alliance 8, Blair 5. And the 7th inning, 7th and final inning now coming up. Blair will have to hold Alliance and hope they can come up with 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th. And that won't be any easy task, Joe.
Vinton Motors for a complete line of 1990 Chevrolet.
Blair infielder had an error except for Matt Sather, and really that was the inning that, that's the kind of thing that's very uncharacteristic of Blair. And all you can think is, this being a state championship game, everybody's a little bit more nervous than normal, and they just didn't play to what they have been all year. And it's too bad, because that's kind of what's carried them to this point.
Alliance 8 runs on 5 hits, 4 Blair errors. Blair with 5 runs on 6 hits, 1 Alliance error. Top of the 7th, due up for Alliance will be hitters number 5, 6, and 7. Dan Ritchie, the right fielder, steps in there first. He's 0 for 3 today. Ground ball hit right back at Pleskotch. Steps and throws to Matt Sather for out number 1.
It's been a while since Alliance gave us any easy outs, other than maybe strikeouts.
That'll bring up the first baseman, Jason Hardy.
It's Coulter up to bat.
Chad Coulter at the plate.
Coulter, who came in and pitched and then later moved to third base.
Shot fair. Swings and misses, 0-2.
The hitter's complaining because after he swung and came around with his backswing, he hit Joel Jacobson's bat, but I heard someone yell the second time around is not interference. It sounded a little like Bill Hardy.
Ball gets by Jacobson, makes the throw to first base. Matt gets the tag on him.
And that first base umpire put so much enthusiasm into making that call, he almost fell down. Nice, it was a nice play by Joel to block that curveball in the dirt that struck the runner out. Then he made a kind of a bad throw, and Matt Sather had to make a nice play coming off the bag, catching it, and making the tag. So 2 good plays on 1 out.
Pat Brown now will step in, the second baseman. He is 1 for 3 on the afternoon. Ground ball, cross deep in the hole, makes a throw, not in time. So Pat Brown on with an infield single.
Really nice try by Jim Cross. Nice try by Nate diving. Once Nate didn't get it, it was pretty much going to be a base hit because Jim had to throw from deep in the hole. Well, I would look for this man on first to run, Dave. Alliance with a 3-run lead certainly got nothing to lose here, and they would love to get this man into scoring position. And there he goes.
There goes the runner. Swinging strike 1. Garrett the batter now.
Apparently we want to concentrate on the hitter because no one even covered second base.
So we got 2 away, runner at second base, 8-5 the score. Alliance leading here. Swings and misses. 2 strikes now to Garrett.
And a hit here, Dave, I think would be disastrous for Blair psychologically. They already have 3 runs to try to make up.
Ground ball, hit it cross, bad hop. Derek Livermore chases it down. And we've got Garrett safe on the air. Well, they're going to give him a base hit on the bad hop.
Looked like a pretty easy play until the last second when it just took a bad hop up and hit Jim Cross right in the chest, and then he didn't have really any chance.
Runners at the corners now, 2 away. Brings up Eric Burback, the catcher, 9th place hitter.
Well, they need to get this man. They thought they were out of the inning on the last one, but couldn't get him.
Swings, fouls the back. 1-1 now to Burback.
I'm kind of surprised, Dave, they haven't sent the runner from first down to second. Blair really can't afford to make the throw down in this situation.
Curve ball, call strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Burback.
By leaving that man on first, they give Blair a chance, if they get a ground ball, to take an easy force at second and not have to make a long throw to first.
Fouls it back out of play.
And Joe's not even checking the runner at first. He could take off anytime he wants.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Runners at first and third, 2 away. Alliance leads 8-5. Curve ball. Jacobson blocks it. 2-2 the count now. Two infield singles. Has 2 men on for Alliance with 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. 2-2 pitch. Ground ball, foul down the first baseline.
Almost looked like he hit the ball on the bounce, Dave.
Count remains at 2-2.
The runner that time was going. I'm surprised he didn't go sooner. He may be somebody not very fast, but I just can't believe Blair's going to throw the ball down to second.
2-2 pitch. Swings and misses, and that's the 3rd out of the inning. And now we head to the bottom of the 7th. Blair trailing by 3